invite you to stay here on the stage, and we together we're going to invite the rest participants of our panel discussion, who is going to be moderated by Dessislava Boshnakova, our amazing friend, and she will introduce herself. She is a lecturer in New Bulgarian University and many other things like Roy Communication founder, etc. So Desi, welcome here. It's great that you're here. She's going to be moderated our next panel, and you may invite the rest of our guests.
I have a microphone.
Okay. So the next one is Tunio Zafer, CEO of pCloud. I'm very proud to have Tunio here on the stage. He is CEO of a cloud service which is really can be compared to one of the best cloud services globally. So Tunio is going to be here. Also, I'd like to invite Ivor again from Degordian. He will be participating in a panel as well. And Salim, partner, founder, centric founder, Leancamp. Salim, Virani, welcome here on the stage.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So, hello. Preparing for moderation today, I just come up to a feature, how not to introduce speakers. So, maybe if you wonder why I'm not presenting our guests and doing all this stuff, so the first rule of a bad presenter is to read the speaker biography. I will not do this. To give away the speaker content. Two of them share a lot of their secrets of success. I expect the next two to do it now, so I will not talk about what they share with me preparing for this moderation. And rule 3 is present the speaker as a superhero. And at the end, all the audience to be not so excited, because as we know, superhero exists in motion picture, and in life, in most of the cases, we are superhero in the office and just normal people when we talk with other people. So I will not do these 3 big mistakes. I read them yesterday and I say, don't read the bio, don't talk about what the panelists will say. But, of course, the topic is so broad, future, the success factor. And I'm sure that all of you here are looking for this secret recipe that make Steve Jobs, Richard Branson, and all this other. I'm sure that no one knows the fixed recipe and how to cook it well. But I know that every one of us has a small secrets bringing them to their success. And if we share with people here, they can find some of your secret ingredients very useful and became the next Steve Jobs, the next Richard Branson, and all these famous names that we don't stop using. So I will start with 2 of you who are not giving presentation just minutes before starting the panel. When we talk about successful projects, do you have any other secrets than this shared by Simon and Ivor?
Me to repeat?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'm going to repeat some of the points from the previous great presentation. But for us, the most important success factor, one of the most important, is the team as well. If you want to make great projects, you must work with great people, with great specialists. And this is really important, maybe most important when we are talking about developers. Because I have one comparison that one great developers can be easily compared to 42 mediocre ones. The next thing that is, you have to work really with passion and to be like example for the others in the team. They have to see your passion, see your motivation, and you have to find a way to give them this motivation and this ambition to them. And that's how it's going to make big projects and great projects. You have to find the right way to hire and to make the really good team with really great people, and to find how to motivate them, how to believe in the project, how to believe in the future of the project. The ideas are good, but ideas, if there's no will to go on, they can remain just an idea. That's why the idea can be changed through the way the strategy can be changed, everything. But if you have the right team, if you have the strong, tight team, you can even choose another idea and work on the another idea and make really big and nice project. Maybe the most important, as I thought at the beginning, is really the people in the team. And you really find the way to bring all the team together and work just like one. Maybe sometimes you have to work more than 8 hours. Now it's going maybe 16 hours, even 20 hours per day. But when you motivate, this is not going to make you tired or to make you lost the motivation or to lost the believing in this project or in this idea. That's why, for me, the most important, one of the most important success factors is the team.
And for Salim, I have a personal question because we met, I don't know how many years ago, on a Leancamp here in Bulgaria. And because I don't understand anything about Lean, I was invited to give a presentation about Lean thinking. Why I was invited? Because I am the publisher and translator about the 3 books, Lean Philosophy of Toyota. And in theory, I know a lot of things about Lean thinking. But is there any Lean factors about success that you can share with us?
Yeah, so I think it's interesting when Lean Startup has become almost a religion in the startup world. And one thing I've noticed successful startups do, I work with, so with Leancamp, I've seen people sharing across Europe and the US what really works and doesn't. We read the stuff in books, it sounds great, we do it, it's not so easy. And then working with accelerators, about 20 across Europe, also seeing how teams try and apply this. One of the biggest consistent success factors, and I wouldn't say that this is a blanket truth, but it's a difference in attitude. So usually we want to be tenacious, we want to be self-confident, and I think I'd like to discuss the self-confidence point. But often that gets in the way. So there's an attitude shift that is actually quite useful that we see in startups, where they move from loving their ideas and looking at process as a way to validate, to prove themselves right, to starting to understand that there is a myriad of options in front of us to get to where we need to. And it often comes down to opportunity cost. So figuring out how to progress actually comes down to how these founders spend their time in getting information that allows them to course correct. And I actually see that is more consistent with an attitude of humility rather than one of like boisterous confidence. And I think that's the attitude that Lean Startup really has at its core, which often gets lost in the way it's talked about or taught. There's a lot of hype around it.
Okay, thank you. And you said that you want to discuss some of the topics that Simon shared from his recipe for success.
Yeah, so I was thinking about what you're saying about, I largely agreed with most of what you said, but then the self-confidence thing as a blanket statement, I've seen that work against founders where they're absolutely convinced and really they should be stepping back and finding another way in.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and I should clarify what I mean there. So what I don't mean is the arrogant guy, and I use guy specifically because it's never a woman. It's the arrogant guy who doesn't want to listen to advice and absolutely knows what needs to be done. And I work with a bunch of accelerators, and I've seen that attitude several times where I'm sitting there with some other great advisors, and we're all giving this person the same advice, and they're going, no, la 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 la, I'm going to do it my way. That's horrendous, and that's not what I mean. But at the same time, if you're going to do something disruptive, you will normally find that everyone is going to tell you why your thing is not going to work. One of the businesses that I founded recently is trying to change the entire way that a particular market works. And it's like pushing water uphill. We're talking to a lot of clients about it, and they're slowly starting to get it. But frankly, you go from despair to elation in the course of about an hour, depending on what kind of feedback people give you. And if you didn't have an underlying self-confidence there to say, I really honestly believe that we can crack this problem, then you would give up. So you've got to get that balance right. You've got to have enough confidence to say, yeah, we can get there, but you have to have humility to know that the route from here to there is not necessarily the one that you think it is, and you've got to listen to that advice.
Do you see that as do you see a connection between that and sort of the emotional feelings that we go through as founders? Like when things are great, we have to change, and when things are going poorly, we have to change.
Yeah, I think it's I think the emotional journey as a founder or working in a startup is unbelievably interesting. It's so much more. The peaks are higher and the troughs are lower than when you work in a firm where you don't really own it. It's not really your baby. What I've found very helpful for that is I have a co-founder that I work with, and we are very different personality types. And it's almost always the case when one of us is in the manic phase, the other one is in the depressive phase, and vice versa. And it means we kind of, one of us is going, yes, we're gonna be billionaires. The other one's going, oh God, we're gonna be bankrupt. And it's fine because the right answer is somewhere in the middle, and we usually the problem comes when we both think we're going to be bankrupt. Then I think we're going to be worried.
I want to invite Ivor to join the conversation. And I have a question. Do you think that for 24 hours I can change my attitude and become a successful person just following the rules?
No, you need to change an attitude to be able to do that.
Oh, and 24 hours is not enough.
For what? For changing the attitude or for succeeding? It's not enough for any of that, I think.
Oh, don't disappoint me.
No, what I wanted to add to this discussion is that I think that what people need to do is face the failures. So learn from your past mistakes, like really embrace the fails. Every fail is something that you can learn from, and if you do it in a smart way, it can be your win in the end. So this is the first thing. Second thing is execution. Whatever you do, you need to be focused on the end goal and how to get there. And if you keep pushing, if you keep learning from where you missed it, I mean, it's the principle of Lean, you're going to get there in the end.
And I have I'm not alone. More than 1 million people in the world like the Sir Ken Robinson presentation of TED. And there is a very popular phrase, if you are not prepared to be wrong, we'll never come up with nothing original. But how you get used to be wrong? Because the whole life we are prepared to be right. There is only one right answer at school. When you go to an interview for work, there is the right way of serving. When you ask investor for your startup, there is a right answer. And where you learn to be wrong and to stand up and go again and again. How you did this?
I think this is the attitude change that you were talking about. So basically you need to do it for yourself. You can do it, the easiest way to do it is in a startup. You need to fail to succeed. So nobody succeeded at first. We hear the stories about like over the night successes, but none of these successes was actually over the night. So Pinterest exploded in 2011. They were actually started in 2007 with a completely different business plan, and it took them 4 years to the overnight success. So I think the negative side to this is the media and people talking, like even in conferences like this, people talking about overnight successes and how you just need a great idea and you're gonna succeed. Great idea doesn't give you anything. Great idea without execution is nothing. You just get a tap on the back and someone telling you, oh, this is awesome.
Can I just add a couple of points on that?
Yeah.
So
you're welcome.
First of all, just to talk about the idea of failure. So I think it is, failing fast is better than failing slowly, but actually we're in a bit of a danger of getting into a kind of West Coast sort of attitude that says, yes, failure's good.
No,
Failure's not
failing
good,
smartly.
Right? Well, even failing smartly is not good, right? Failing is failing. Succeeding is succeeding. So the first thing you've got to aim for is success, not failure. And it's really important to keep that in your mind, because there's a bit of a permissive approach developing, where people go, yes, I failed. Actually, let's not celebrate failure, right? Let's regard it for what it is. Yes, we can learn from it, and yes, the experiences that come out of it might be good, but fundamentally, you pissed away somebody's money, yours or somebody else's. That's not a good thing.
I think they're now trying to push this failure so that we all embrace it, but they're doing it too hard.
Exactly.
So actually, yeah, the main goal has to be success. If you're doing something to fail, it's a wrong approach, completely wrong. Just leave this job, this company, everything that you're doing, go away.
It was funny, in the early days of the lean startup community in London, like 4 years ago, it was full of founders who had serial failures.
Yeah.
And they're all just going, it was like we were all getting together going, it's amazing, this lean startup thing would have helped me learn these lessons sooner. Everyone was saying, I wish I knew that sooner. We were crying into whiskeys, we couldn't afford them because we were poor. You know, and failure wasn't great, but that failure message did completely override the whole point about fail fast is not about failing, it's about getting the information that allows us to adapt and find success.
Yeah.
And we end up celebrating like failures as part of that culture, and it's really not helpful.
It's the wrong place to go.
Yes, but
And
do
you have to know
how hard it is to fail from the cloud? I just wanted to give the word to Tunio, because he's in
No, I want to add something.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, I want to add something that every success is full with little fails in features, in people, in teams, in everything. You worked on a feature maybe 1 or 2 months. After that, you launch it, and you see that the users of the service is not happy with this, and this is really fail. But overall, for the project, you have to know that the final success is really full with a lot of fails. Sometimes hurts, sometimes not, but really you have to be prepared that you are going to be, yes.
Are you ready to get some questions from the audience? Because the tradition in Bulgaria in most of the cases when the speaker is talking and asking about question, no question, and all the questions are after that.
Sure.
So you finish your talk, there are not this kind of situation. So I think that we can catch some question from the audience and to go in search of factor of success.
Thank you. My name is Tanya Boyajieva, and I think everybody understood I'm a people management person and in management consulting. I was most excited by the presentation of Simon, of course, but what I want you to comment, all of you if possible, the notion of leadership, because for me this is very, very important factor for success, and leadership on 2 levels, on the level of the person on top and on the level of the rest. Especially what you said, make people enjoy working with you, what you mean by that, and also talking about leadership on the level of everybody in the team. I would like you to comment the words of Laszlo Bock, who is the Senior Vice President of Google for People Management, who said that they choose people for Google with specific quality, and that's called leadership, but not in the traditional sense, but in the following sense. When somebody is faced with a problem and he's member of a team, at appropriate time to be able to step in and lead, and just as critically, be able at the right time to step back and stop leading and let somebody else to do that. Thank you.
I just want to add something. Maybe you find this, but I just read about this, that in most of the cases, company make mistakes when they attract all the same kind of people in one place. And one of the secrets is to attract different people, people who you think that they don't match in anything, because they are different points of view, different way of solving problems. And Simon, the word, yeah.
Okay, so I think there's quite a lot in there we could spend a bunch of time unpacking. I'm going to try and be brief, though. First of all, to the point about you need lots of different people, absolutely. There is more research than you can shake a stick at that proves that the best performing teams are those that are heterogeneous and there are lots of diverse people in them. So that's a given. But again, startups often start by taking a bunch of friends who are homogeneous, and that isn't as good as if you find randoms off the street, actually. The second point is leadership, and leadership is critical. Again, in the work I do with startups, very often what you see is you have people who are great product people, but maybe don't have leadership in sales, or they don't have a person who really is the CEO, someone who's going to drive the company. And those things are critical. If you don't have them, you're going to fail. The Google quote is interesting. I hadn't heard that before, but absolutely. I think great leaders can lead and can step back. I'm really bad at the stepping back part, so I'm not a Google person probably, because I love to be, when I'm in the car, I've always got to be the guy driving. But I think that's probably a failing of mine rather than a strength.
And how you go by planes? You are not you are sitting there.
I have to have a flight sim, so I feel like...
So we have 35, 33, 32, 31, 30 seconds to finish. Some catchy words for a hashtag from our panel to people to share some secret words about success from all of you.
Be passionate about what you're doing and be example for the others in the team.
Okay. Salim?
I'd say use others around you to help figure out where you're wrong.
Thank you. Ivor?
Don't give up, but know when to give up.
Simon, the last word is yours.
Attitude, skills, habits, and hard work.
Thank you so much to be here with us. Thank you for being your moderator. Thank you, all of you. I give the floor to Flamen.
Do I have to say how much I thank you? You gave such a human face of this failure and success part of this event.
Because I failed too many times.
Thank you, dear. Yeah, you're talking to the biggest failure in the world anyway. So thanks a lot, guys. Don't even think of leaving.
I think that it was great.
Please have a seat here in front of us. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.